Welcome back to Saga of Three Kings, session number 46. Back to the beginning. Last session, the group had a pretty exciting time. They finally made it into the Temple of Haziel and met with a stranger, Dragonborn, known to them as Empyragon. After a very short engagement, they found out that they really didn't want to fight each other. Empyragon gave some information regarding the nature of Calareth that was not known to the group. Um, Interesting to be sure. And yeah, they then utilized uh, Rooklin's capability of channeling divine energies to break the Blighs, which is a kind of crystalline stone um, from that was encasing the Egg of Haziel, broke it and allowed for Haziel to be freed and reborn. It then granted the heart's desires of the others, not by means of wish, just by means of actually going through the process of doing the things that were desired, such as teleporting people to different locations, um, and the like. And yeah, they eventually ended up after that whole deal to end up in Mudis, where they began before. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. So yeah, they are now in Mudis. They've spent 3 days downtime. Raya had an engagement, which Rooklyn and Shambles assisted with. Um, Strangely, going by the sub team name of R cubed, I guess. Um, and Grok helped around in the farmlands around Mudis after speaking to the Sentinels, other than himself. And yeah, Benson attempted to enchant the Bly's axe that Grok has. It did not work. And some trading of weaponry was had by the group. That said, they are in Mudis 3 days later, and are deciding where they're going to be headed. It sounds like southwardly.
Southeast.
Yep.
That's west.
Southwest.
I'd do it too.
My map is upside down.
I guess, do we want to go through the woods? Would that benefit us at all?
So, you can roll a nature check, but as a free amount of information for Grok, as we've discussed before. The Mantle Forest is a bit more hostile than the Anguis wood.
We have hidden in and traveled through it a bit before when we were hiding from the White Dragon the first time.
The outskirts of it, correct.
Was there anything of note that we remember finding in there?
You didn't actually go in. You didn't go that deep in. You kind of hung out at the outskirts of it. You didn't actually delve too far deep. But it was
Grok, is there anything that Grok knows about in here that would be beneficial to us?
for specific details besides just ooh scary. He will need to make a nature check.
Make a nature check.
And peoples he's crossed or tribes that may live in it that would be beneficial to us?
Grok rolled a 10.
Ooh, scary.
Ooh, scary. Yeah, you would know it's not as bad as the Virens would to the far south, and but it is worse than the Anguis would.
Grok would say that. Yeah, it's not so bad. I mean, it's the woods. How bad could it be?
It's up to you guys. We're not in a hurry, but that is the shortest distance.
No, it's also the thickest. I don't think it's going to save us any time by crossing through it rather than going through around it.
Correct. It would take you, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 direct. So that would be 2 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, It would take you 2 days to go to around it.
Same.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Brent, are you there?
Yeah, I don't know my. I think it's been kind of wacky today.
Sorry, bud.
No worries. We're moving on without you. You haven't missed much. Sorry.
That's fun.
And they're still
I don't know
discussing.
Discussing
I
this.
said, if I cut out again, just assume Brooklyn will agree with anything Raya and Benson want to do.
Yes.
Huh.
Oh, that's scary.
That's dangerous thing to make a
But
gamble on.
you notice how he didn't say shambles, the other part of R cubed?
Yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. Maybe he
Because
did
most
like
of the
you
time-
do,
Most of
constantly.
the time, Shambles goes along with Benson anyway.
Shambles works for Benson.
Yeah.
These are-
Anyway, yeah, let's take the open, safer, faster.
Benson typically
travel.
likes the road, as I was about to say before being called, manservant.
Yeah, if we would, he would much rather teleport if he can, because I don't want to go roughing it.
So yeah, there's no teleportation direct to the shrine. The closest place you could get to would be the Atavius shrine on the northern side of the Mantle Forest.
That's
And
further.
1, 2,
Yeah, it's
3,
gonna be
It's
longer.
further away.
7. It would be about the same distance if you traveled on the road and around. Basically, it would put you close enough to be the same distance that the road would be covering.
You won't be roughing it. You'll be traveling the main road from half of this.
Still fine.
And I would recommend we check out Venero since that was going to be one of their hideouts.
Quick
listed.
question. Exactly how much time did we have, like, downtime?
3 days.
You had 3 days vacation and you're already overwalking.
Right?
I mean,
I've lived in luxury now. I don't want to go
I
back.
I'm sure
So-
that either Shambles or Grok can carry Benson if you want to. It's not a big deal.
Red Ball's Clue is supposed to clear out Venero, but we could still swing by and check because it may have a teleportation circle in it since it is part of Calrest's network.
Correct.
So let's go clear the shrine, hit Venero, check for a circle. Benson can write that down. Then we can hit the mountain stone.
Okay.
Man with a
Sounds
plan.
All right. So if you are heading that way, looks like the first day of travel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Did you say the Iron Road is on here now or not?
It is not. The Iron Road.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's marked in the bottom there. Yeah, but so if you travel and you push it, if you travel starting very early in the morning and kind of push it into the night side, you could make it to the Wayside Inn by nightfall, or rather, just after nightfall.
There you go, Benson.
If that's the case, I'm gonna need 3 d20 rolls for random encounters, and they are
That's for all of
one.
it. It's his fault.
okay.
Who's doing it?
Benson.
Benson's doing it all.
Mr. I want to sleep indoors.
Well, these are potentially worse in that big scary woods, so.
There you go. 11, 11, 14.
You push it hard, and you make it to a place where you cross over the river, travel on beyond, and you can see just ahead, just on the course of another river, rather another part of the waterways here, lights and what seems to be a 3-story wooden manse. And looks like there's a stables connected to it, kind of encased in a stone structured wall. Decent looking little inn that, if any of you, I'm pretty sure Raya has been here before. I'm pretty sure Shambles has but doesn't remember it, but something's familiar about it, and Benson's definitely been here before. It's known as the Wayside Inn. You enter in. As you move to approach it, you can see that there are 2 mains of entry. Looks like a big, normal kind of foyer entryway. And there also seems to be just near there double door entry into the stables, or the stable side of it. Do you want to just enter the normal main room?
Yes.
Cool. All right, so bear with me here. I'm just gonna pull some tokens. You enter in, opening the doors and entering into a small kind of 15 by 10 foot kind of entry room. There's coat rack on the wall. There's hay all over the floor. Looks like the ground you're kind of standing on here appears to be kind of wood paneling that's been kind of slotted onto the ground, the hard dirt, with the hay kind of laid out atop it. And standing in the corner, you see what appears to be a ghost, kind of just standing there, chill. And as you kind of turn to look at it, it kind of gestures towards the coat rack.
I go and I put my coat up
Okay.
and bow to him.
Okay. Yep. And everyone else.
Yeah, I'll follow suit.
Okay. When you enter in, you can hear a bit of lively music. Stepping in, you can see it's a bit cramped for quarters, but there does look like there are plenty of available seats, despite the number of people that appear to be present in the common room of this inn.
For those of us that have been here before, do we remember a ghost being here last time?
There wasn't a ghost there.
No.
Okay, and that is for sure a ghost.
That is for sure a ghost. If you had to venture a guess, it would be a wraith. Not too dissimilar from the kind of undead that you fought in Purple Light.
In the basement?
In the tower, actually. The one that turned ropes into a
right.
specter. So it's a pretty potent undead.
But everyone else looks okay with it being there?
No one's in that room. But then you enter in through the out of the coat room and into the next part. Bear with me here. My music didn't change. Peculiar. Let me fix. There we go. So yeah, a bit of jaunty music. Couple of tables that you can see there. It does look like there's a number of different guests present. Some windows out into the stable area that you can see. The barkeep is a portly gentleman who's wearing a suit of half-plate armor, kind of walking around, just keeping an eye out on the two patrons specifically at the bar. There does look like there's a small kind of exit into what is presumably the kitchen. Most of the folks present look like farmer types. There is a woman in a dark cloak. Across from her, a armored monk who appears to be wearing kind of the white face coverings of the traveling warrior monks of Osiria. There do appear to be a pair of lizard folk just around the stair bend there. There is a bard up on the small stage there, blonde-haired, short, kind of blonde-haired half-elf, currently playing a number of different instruments through means of magic. At the bar, you can see there looks like there's kind of a banditly looking fellow, and just near him a full-blooded elf who appears to be wearing a very similar garb to Empyragon. He has a tripartite kind of cloak, and is kind of sitting there sipping a glass of wine, the bottle of which is set in front of him. Looks like a pretty decent aged vintage. And yeah, after a fashion, you see a portly red-headed woman, probably related to the barkeep, come out and start serving the two farmers closest to the doorway there. And then you hear a kind of bellowing voice come out across everything. Wherever you want, folks!
That guy with
Gesture forth towards the empty table in the center.
Okay.
Kind of trying to keep Benson nearby.
Yeah.
Make a, because you're kind of going wide berth and kind of keeping a good distance, but the two of you are kind of walking a bit. I'd like for the two of you to go ahead and just make acrobatics checks.
Team.
Good.
18.
Okay, good. Yeah, you don't have any problems maneuvering around people. You could see that one misstep could lead you into bumping into somebody, hitting a table. It looks like the cloaked lady and the warrior monk, their table, every so often you can see as they're just kind of doing regular hand talking and lifting of drinks, that it has a wobble to it. Everyone's been to a restaurant with that situation.
Let's slip sugar packets under the legs.
Yeah, well, they don't. That might be why there's so much hay on the ground. But yeah.
It's All these peanut shells everywhere.
Yeah. The Texas Roadhouse, apparently.
Yeah.
It's fire hazard.
Best
Nice.
restaurant ever, right there.
Texas. I asked this place called Ground Round.
Now, Brent, your Midwest is showing.
Anywho, but yeah, that's basically the scenario. So yeah, Shambles, you move to sit. Brooklyn, you said you were moving to sit, right?
Yeah, I'm going with it.
Give me that acrobatics check. And Benson, you'd already made the acrobatics check, so you can go ahead and take your seat.
I'm bumping into everything.
Okay, Brooklyn, you bump into the round table with the warrior monk at it as you're kind of keeping your distance from the farmer folk on the opposite side. You hit it. You can see as you kind of turn to like, oh, what did I do? You can see their mugs kind of spill over a bit. The woman kind of gives you a look like, really? And the warrior monk just kind of crosses his arms and kind of looks at you with his gaze. What do you do in response?
My bad, guys, and then I continue walking.
Okay. Not a too terribly heartfelt apology. They still seem to be giving you kind of a surly look as you step away from them. All right, Grok and Raya.
Grok is gonna look at the bagpiper. What's going on there?
He's not playing a bagpipe. He's just playing multiple.
Where'd he come from?
No.
It does look like
It's
he has a
bag- So I
bagpipe.
think that's the token
In
that
the
Jason
token.
Jason Corythius is bard, right? Nice.
Perceptive. But yeah, a blonde-haired half-elf bard who is playing multiple instruments right now, none of which are currently a bagpipe.
Got it. So you know, seeing Brooklyn bump into the table and knowing that Grok is kind of a hefty, not very graceful thing, so he's gonna like kind of tiptoe a little bit,
Okay.
and like walk on it. You know how you walk on your side, just kind of walk that way through.
Yeah, since you're being a bit more cautious, you can make the acrobatics check with advantage. And Raya, I presume you're just going to be moving through, probably no problem.
I'm gonna go hang out with that other elf.
Okay.
18.
Yeah, you're fine.
23.
Perfectly fine. You basically watch as Raya kind of just like moves to the bar. Just as you're kind of doing that, the lady moves away from the farmer folk, having deposited some items, comes over to your table, and kind of turns the chair around and gives it one of those side saddle, or not side saddle, one of those saddle seats.
Gonna rap with us.
She William T. Rikers that chair, and she looks at you and says, "Hey, all folks, how you all doing tonight?"
Very well. We are looking for some rest and a meal.
Of course. Yeah. So we've got some suckling pig tonight. We also have a bit of deer. Not too much left. Looks over to the table behind you, and you can see them kind of go, ah, as she looks over at them. Yeah, we also have some root vegetables that are on stew. Gesturing over to the table behind you to the side, the lizard folk, and says, those are the 3 meal options on offer. We, of course, have bread and cheese, if that's more your fancy. And drink right now, we've got a ale on tap. We do have a pony keg of some finer brew. It's it's the owner's speciality. That's about it.
We're going to go ahead and at least start out with some cheese. And I would like to get us all at least a drink. And I would also like to send another drink over to the monk that had his drink spilt. The monk and his friend.
Oh, gestures over.
My tab, of course, and tell them I said we apologize for spilling their drink.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get you started on that. And then she walks over to them, and they kind of, have a quick conversation over there. She kind of turns and heads back towards the kitchen. You can see the woman kind of look over to you, Benson, kind of nod her head.
And nod it right back, and again, do the apologize kind of gesture.
Okay. Brooklyn none the wiser. But yeah, the lizard folk are looking at Grok pretty intently.
Hungrily?
No, it's not hungrily, because they're currently eating what appears to be the root vegetables which were made. Based on that, you would know that they're presumably wild folk, not unlike yourself. They appear to be looking at you interestedly, like it's more of a curiosity.
This is the lizard folk or the
Yep.
monk and woman? Okay.
Lizard folk are looking at Grok.
He puffs
Monkey,
up his shell a little bit like Stan.
Monk and woman give Benson a quick kind of thing, but then it
Got
looks
it.
like they go right back to whatever they were talking about. Not really much attention from anyone else. The bandit type kind of looks at you, Raya, as you kind of approach, and you see him kind of go, oh, like kind of a concerned look. You move to sit down. The elf looks at you.
I would ask him if I could have the seat.
It's not mine to give.
Then I said,
The barkeep walks over to you. The elf not really saying anything in between. He says, "What can I get you, traveler?"
I'll have what he's having.
Well, that's the last bottle I had of it. The elf says, "I'm not really partial to sharing."
No worries. The next best you have.
Okay, well, be right back. He walks over to the door, exits out of the bar. You hear some kind of glass sounds in the back. Bit of a quiet moment between the two of you. You also note that the guy who kind of gave you a strange look very quickly finishes the rest of his cup, sets it down, gets up, and starts walking kind of out and past you. Looks like he's trying to take the narrow route past your friend's table. Make a perception check.
Stick your leg out,
I would ask him
Shambles.
I would ask him if he's in a hurry on his way over.
He
28
doesn't,
perception.
he doesn't seem to respond, but as you kind of look at the back of him, you can see that he has a crimson scarf tucking out the back of his bag.
I'll look at Shambles. Does he happen to see me?
Shambles, make a perception check.
Sure. 16.
You look over to Raya, just as the guy is passing by you. Again, he wouldn't seem to be of note to you. Raya, you look at him, you see Shambles.
I'll point at the guy and give him one of these.
If you do that, you'll note that the guy is kind of looking over his shoulder.
Or I'll kind of grab my neck like a scarf.
Okay, you see the guy kind of looking over his shoulder,
Immediate kill, but
kind of
look at his neck.
keeping an eye on it. His pace becomes greater. He bumps into these two farmers as he rushes towards the door. Shambles, you can give chase if you'd like.
Yeah, he's not outpacing Shambles, that's for sure.
No.
He's not, but I don't like leaving Benson alone in this.
He's got Grokken.
Oh, we got Croc and Brooklyn.
I'll tail him.
Okay. So you'd actually get outside, and I'll just go ahead and move him off board and move you outside. And you'll get outside, and he will basically be running towards the river. And he kind of stops and turns and looks back at you as you're basically gaining on him. And he kind of raises his hands. Okay.
Beyond gaining on him, he is inside of him. In
You're
seconds.
gonna be tired, friend.
He turns and he raises his hands. Okay. What do you want?
Curious who you're working for. I don't want to make a scene, friend.
I'm not working for anyone.
My friend was under the impression you might have, and I'll pull out a red scarf that I've collected. Something akin to this.
What, do you want it? And he pulls it out and throws it on the ground. It kind of wafts and hits.
Curious where you got it. Nothing more.
I used to wear it.
I understand. It's a lot of folks like you.
Yeah.
You, sever ties with those types?
I'm just making my way south. I'm headed to Bellum, seeing what it's on offer. Not too much out here in the Middlelands.
By chance recognize who we are? We've been approached by
I've never seen you
deserters
before,
such as yourself.
but I know the Saint. Most folks like me
We're,
know him on sight.
We're trying to turn the other cheek about this sort of behavior.
Yeah.
Leaning towards forgiveness these days. I understand folks such as you don't want any part of what we're handling these days.
Well, look, okay? I don't want any trouble. I'm not for whatever is happening with the loyalists, okay? I'm not a fan of the kind of shit they're into. And, yeah, when Red Ball came to the temple, at Venero, it was do or die at that moment, and I decided to do something. I let all the prisoners I could go, and I got out of there.
Ebenero?
Venero.
Venero. Can you remind me where that is? Have we been there?
It's one of the places you plan on going to in this trip.
Right after the shrine, yeah.
It's
Got it.
Ball,
when you
one of the holdouts that.
Oh,
that
Red,
work there
okay,
now.
Red Ball you mentioned. Listen, I don't have any ill feelings towards you. I hope to goodness that you're steadfast in your belief of abandoning this life that you've led.
Or we'll hunt you down and kill you.
Well, look, I'm not sure if my life
That
in
guy's
Bellum.
inside.
I'm not sure if my
can't-
life in Bellum is going to be as Atavian as one might hope, as pure and sanctified. I might have to cut a few purses, but I'm not going to be getting into the kind of shit the loyalists are into. No, sir.
I don't suppose I could talk you into joining us at the bar. I could guarantee your safety while we're in that bar.
I'll be honest. I'm so nervous. If I even smell another beer, I'm going to throw it up. What I heard about the saint in there, I'm not a fan. If rumors are true, it said that he hoisted scarves up by their own scarves at Bluegate. It said that he impaled folks on spikes and fed others to displacer beasts just outside of Bluegate. No thanks.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. The five of us have done some cruel things to your ilk. But
Hey, if they're doing the things that I've been told that they've been doing, sure, they probably deserved it. But I'm not a fan of getting, punishment ain't due. You know what I'm saying?
that saint in there kind of tried to set things right. If you don't want to talk to him, I understand. I've been scared before.
I got my craft. It's where I was planning on sleeping anyways. I was just stopping in here for a drink. That's it.
All right.
I'm going to be on my way. If you're going to drag me in there, I'm not going to try to resist you, though. So, if you let me go, I'm going to go. If you're going to fight me, I'm giving up.
No,
All right.
I think peace is a
You notice the
good
whole
option.
You noticed the whole time, and you hadn't been paying attention, but the whole time he was backing away from you, and you're like, huh?
Yeah, yeah, that doesn't matter.
You're like,
That's not going to help you.
But it's still kind of like a huh. Like he was the whole time unnoticed by you. He was able to move a good 30 feet further away from you than he started, and you didn't notice. It's a pretty good trick, is what I'm saying. Muted.
Am I muted now?
No, you're good.
Does the scarf allow you to do that? And I note the
No.
distance.
He points to the scarf. No. You learn a lot of tricks. You talking about my shadow step?
Sure.
Yeah,
That's what you want to call it.
you learn a lot of tricks in the capital. Sometimes you want to be closer to somebody, sometimes you want to be further away.
I'm going to dash at him.
Yeah, you see him raise his arms up in like defense like a coward.
I'd like to buy that scarf off you.
You can have it. You can have it. He already threw it on the ground.
No. Like I said, we're trying to turn the other cheek on these things.
I mean, I'm
You
not.
could guarantee me. Listen, if you could guarantee me this is all behind you, I'm willing to give you a platinum piece for that scarf.
Yeah. You got it.
I put it in his hand. I turn my back. I walk back towards the tavern.
You can hear footfall like rushing across the grass, and then you hear a splash sound of him jumping in his boat. It's a small little a river runner. It's not a big boat, pretty simple stuff. But yeah, you head back in. Meanwhile, inside, you are sitting next to the elf. He just seems to be really disinterested in you, sipping his wine.
Did that barkeep ever come back?
Yeah, he does after a fashion. Comes back out with a bottle, sets it out in front of you.
You guys are all watching the door for 5 minutes.
You see him kind of do like the barkeep does one of these. He kind of like he has like a dirty like wash rag over his arm, and he kind of walks over to you and he like presents the bottle to you. It's covered in dust. You can just barely see the label, and he's like, "Yeah."
No one else could afford this.
Sets it off, kind of gives it a nice once over with the rag. You see him pop the cork, and he pours a glass. And the glass is actually crystal. Looks pretty nice, but yeah, presentation pretty hilarious.
I like it. What do I owe him?
He says it's going to be 10 gold on that.
Done.
I can't walk back inside.
I gave him 11.
Nods his head. He says, "You stay in here."
Yeah, I think we'll have a room tonight.
Okay. Well, we've only got vacancy for the master suite and one shared room.
Shared room will be fine.
All right. It's going to be a total of 6 beds, and it's 3 gold to buy the entire room out.
I'll toss him 3 more.
All right. He says, "Good deal." He says, "Beatrice, we got somebody in A." And she says, "I'll go make sure it's ready." And you hear a kind of, rushing sound of someone kind of exiting one door and heading in a different direction. Whenever you're ready, when you head on upstairs, you'll want to go outside, up the stairs outside. It'll be the first door on the right when you enter back into the building.
Excellent.
Nods his head. Oh, did you see a ghost outside when you walked in? He says.
Yeah, so I've been here before. Is that new?
Yeah, that's new. Some people have been saying they see it. Some people say they don't. So, yeah, he says, the lizard folk didn't see it. The elf says, I saw it. He nods his head. Some of the farmers didn't see it. But yeah, really confusing stuff.
Any idea who it is?
No.
Was?
No, can't say for sure. But the elf says, I have an idea. It would seem that a very ancient magic was stopped in the region, and undead have been wandering all about. My presumption is it's probably the ghost of someone in the service industry who has lost an idea or understanding of where or what he is, or she, or they.
As long as it's not hurting anybody.
So far not, says the barkeep. But, yeah. He, as an Osirian, you presume that he does not like undead.
Do you need it dealt with?
I'd prefer it not be there than it be there,
We'll talk to my companions. One of them may be able to do something about it.
Sure. Benson, take a scan of the room. You'll note a couple of things different than other people if you're wearing the spectacles.
Yes.
The elf doesn't seem right. There's something off about him. So much so that it appears that his true, actual manifest state isn't a physical one.
So we're talking about Raya, right?
The guy next to Raya.
Oh, okay, I just figured Raya too.
Yeah. The bard who's playing all the instruments, that's all real. Like, everything he's doing appears to be very little magic and a lot of very keen positioning on the instruments. There aren't phantom people behind him playing the other instruments. He is legitimately playing them all at the same time. Yeah, not much other than that on the read.
So Grok would be really focusing in on the elf that has the Ashmodean kind of colors.
It's not an Ashmodean color. It's just an old style cloak. It's instead of being a cloak that's worn for, necessity and bundling, it has like cuts in it and kind of like a tricorn kind of coatness to it. Like,
Okay.
yeah, it's.
But it's the same style as in Paragon.
It's the same kind of like era, fashion wise.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, to the elf, what brought you to the area?
Oh, just wandering.
Where have you wandered from?
here and there. He again keeps looking at you like he's annoyed.
Oh, he can be as annoyed as he wants to be.
He's still asking
I don't-
questions.
I don't often see other elves in the area. I'll lower my own hood.
Sure. There aren't many.
For sure. Your clothing style seems familiar to me, but I can't quite place it. Where did you get this cloak?
I made it.
I like it. Do you often sell things?
No. Kind of leans in and in Elvish says, "It's not really manifest, so sorry."
In Elvish, how do you mean?
He looks over to the wizard, Benson, and then looks back to you. Individuals such as we can create illusions. It's not real.
Oh,
Are you trying to get back inside?
I just found out I could go through the window for whatever reason, and I was really stoked about it. I'll stay outside.
No, you can go back
I was
in.
busy with the guy.
The farmers are just hanging out, and the window breaks open. Oh yeah!
broken glass and all their beers.
I was just fooling around with the map.
Perfectly
I was
acceptable.
like, how do I do this?
Won't let me through the door.
Why-
That damn ghost.
Why would you feel you need to manifest a cloak?
I'm not terribly rich, so it's hard to acquire fine clothing. And this is what I remember fine clothing looking like.
Oh, the style is actually quite dated.
Oh. Kind of looks around. What about the halfling? Is that pretty favorable?
Oh, he likes to be fancy for sure.
Interesting. He kind of looks at you and his eyes kind of lock with yours. And as he does so, you watch his clothes just change into a pretty close but different colored blue representation of what the halfling is wearing.
Would I notice that?
You probably looked at him and have been focused on him. You're not really seeing him for what he's wearing. You're seeing him for what he is, and he appears to be a shiny, kind of glowing, outsidery creature. You're not sure what kind.
Okay.
There you go. That's much better. Much more fitting for the time. Still slightly dated, but
Thanks. The barkeep says to him, no more spell casting. Kind of makes some of the locals a little bit nervous.
oh, he didn't cast any spells.
What's that?
There was no spell cast there.
Oh, well, nothing too magic or untoward. A few of the folks, and the elf says, are small-minded. Understood. The barkeep says, yeah. And it kind of walks back over to what he was doing.
I kind of like. They understand how the band works, right?
They don't.
Okay then. So, that's the last fine clothing you remembered. How long has it been since you've been in society?
Not really much for revealing too much about myself. I guess I can tolerate your questions, but I don't know if I can answer them all.
I understand. It's the longevity that comes with these bodies is kind of odd to me too. I just recently acquired mine, actually.
No, I could tell. You definitely strike me as different than what you appear to be.
Oh, I feel different. Is there anything you could tell me about my own form? Still trying to piece this together.
Unfortunately, no. I would be the last person you'd ask for advice.
Is your... I kind of lean in and whisper again. Is your form not true either?
We've already discussed too much. He says he puts the wine glass to his lips.
I understand.
There's
Just sit quietly.
like you getting that close to him. There's like a moment where you're like, "What?" Because you can smell him, and again, yeah, this is a strange way of saying it, but there's absolutely something pleasant about his aroma. He smells great. You don't know what it is, but
Is there anything about him that's going to trigger the Monster Hunter background?
no.
Okay, that's fine then. I will let it go and just assume Benson is on it and drink my wine.
Okay. You do see every so often Benson kind of doing a little bit of a glance at him.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not hiding it at all.
He's spectacling the crap out of him.
Would Divine Sense do anything?
Do you use it?
I can use one, yeah.
Yeah, so you'll get two effects happening. There's a certain kind of blaring in the back room that you were in, and there appears to be a number of blarings in the stables area. Like there might be more undead wandering about in that area. He seems to be glowing as a celestial.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna mention the multiple undeads possibly outside in the stables to Benson and Grok. Like, hey, I feel like there's probably a bunch of undead, just like the one in that room out there in the stables. And also, Benson, I see you staring at that guy. He's a celestial.
Really?
Yes.
Hmm.
Should I let?
Riot, you can already tell that whatever they're talking about, all the way through all of the music, the talking, and everything, this guy kind of does one of these, just very quick and sudden. You're pretty sure everything that they've probably talked about was overheard by the Celestial.
I'm just gonna give him a little. Sorry about my friends. I'm sure they mean you no harm. You seem like a pretty cool guy. I don't think they're gonna mess with you. Just go about your business. There's plenty of other stuff here for us to worry about.
In the tongue of the Celestials, he speaks to you, and you understand him when he speaks. You don't know why. But a language you've never heard, and understanding every single piece of it as he spits these words to you, he says, "It is the nature of mortals to be curious. I was brought here by a more curious source. You do not trouble me, as long as you're not troubling me."
It's not only the mortals that are curious. I can assure you of that.
Do you reply in Celestial?
If he lets me do it, hell yeah.
No, you don't think it's him that's giving you the power. You learned the language through gaining the knowledge domain. So you start speaking Celestial, not having known it a few days ago.
Totally surprising myself.
I'm going,
Oh, well, this is cool.
I'm 100% fluent in this. So, the barkeep's kind of like, not sure, because the words of creation are basically being spoken at his bar, and he doesn't know what that means. Just heads into the back. Back to the table. Shambles, you enter back in after your exchange.
Yeah. I'll give Raya a quick thumbs up as I'm stuffing the scarf back into my jacket. Or whatever I'm wearing these days.
Yeah.
Into a bag. And
I believe you're still wearing fine robes.
I was wearing fine robes once upon a time. I'll put those back on. They probably still fit.
Alright.
Yeah, if nobody's really signaling anything, I'll make my way back towards the table.
Cool. Brooklyn and Benson compare notes. Grok, the lizard folk, are still kind of giving you a look. It doesn't look like they're at any point going to gather up enough courage to actually come talk to you. That said,
Grok isn't paying much mind. He's smoking his pipe and drinking his ale, having a great time.
The lady comes back out with cheese and your drinks, and would have taken your order by this point if you're ordering anything else food-wise. Would deliver those courses at about this time when Shambles gets back in.
I'm gonna go ahead and give this guy my introduction. Let him know I'm Zadok Mishrael, and should he ever need anything in this plane, he can seek me out. I'm serving Lamac and seeking knowledge.
I'm seeking something here, Saint, that eludes me. If you are interested in aiding me.
If I'm able and we have the time, I'd gladly do so.
There is a very, very rare metal that appears to be present somewhere in this establishment, but I cannot suss out exactly where. A very rare metal indeed. I require it.
Could you describe it to me?
Star-born metal. Metal that comes from the heavens. As he kind of finished.
Metal, not stone, right?
Metal. As he kind of finishes that sentence, the barkeep comes back out and kind of scratches his head and looks back to you two. You sure you don't want anything? He says to the your friend. Shakes his head. I do not require anything. For you, Mishra?
I don't require it either. Thank you.
Nods his head. You see him kind of reach under the counter, pull out a book, throw it onto the table, and kind of hold it down with his big, meaty hands. Kind of start reading the book.
Is it something of note?
You get a quick catch of the tome's name. It looks like it is a treatise on blacksmithing.
Studying a trade on top of the bar.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything unique about the metal?
Yes.
In Elvish or Celestial, whichever one he's more savvy.
Seems Celestial seems to be a bit more his speed. He says, yes, it comes from a place outside of the spiral. It descended through the veil and arrived here or near here. Someone might have brought it to this location. I was able to procure assistance in my travels and have made my way here from the province of Varquin, where I descended to. The metal's just outside of my detection. It's like I know it is here, but I do not know exactly where.
Does it carry any specific properties to make it discernible?
It's very, very notable outside of regular metal. It works as a conduit for the winds much more strongly than any other metal in the world. We call it Mysium.
Not familiar with it myself. May I invite my colleague to join us?
Of course. Does he speak this tongue?
I believe he has the means.
Perfect.
I can understand. I can't speak.
I invite him over.
If you read your card, you can understand and speak.
Oh, okay. Before I thought we could only just
The
understand.
ring of all languages. It's read and speak Dwarvish, and if you are a wizard, you are treated as having the spell tongues cast on you as long as you're wearing it.
Oh, that is super good.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
I'm honestly really jealous of it.
Yeah, that is super good.
You can't read shit.
I don't care. I can talk to people.
That's
I
the
know
thing.
what they're saying.
Yeah, I'd motion for Benson and Benson alone to come join us.
Shambles, do you allow him to go?
I trust the both of them, yeah. I'd like gesture at myself, like, us, 2, 4.
No, just one.
Okay.
Small one.
Him.
Benson,
him,
you come
him.
over and you sit next
Give me
to
the-
him. So basically, the two of you are flanking him, and you see the barkeep kind of looking at his book, kind of look up at you, look back down at his book, then kind of snap up and go, "The Hand of Munis!" And then everyone kind of looks in that direction, and he goes, he walks over and says, "Can I get you anything?"
He's much more common than you'd think. He's been served. Thank you.
I put my hands together and I go like this and have a rainbow come up between them and go, hi.
He says, I can't remember the last time you were here. I was probably in my teens. He kind of shrugs.
I'm just interrupting. If you could just bring him an extra glass, I'll share my bottle with him. Thank you.
You got it.
When the bartender shouts the Hand of Munis, I'm standing straight up and just staring at him,
Yeah,
like watching what's happening over there.
everyone kind of like giving him sass for that. He kind of recoils and very quickly.
He knew he fucked up when he did.
Just shortly after the breath was uttered, he places a crystal goblet in front of you and goes back to his book, which you recognize as, again, a treatise on blacksmithing. You can make a history check, the two of you, at this point, if you'd like, to see if you can kind of determine if you know the book or are familiar at least with the author.
12.
27.
Yep.
So
Better.
So it
you actually don't know how you know this, but you realize that the book in question was a blacksmithing tome, specifically etched out by an individual named last name Blaze Hatchet. It doesn't specifically state the first name. It's more of a clan's archive of materials in that specific art. A very prominent dwarvish clan in the Parnak province, far to the south, that were very, very skilled at craftsmanship.
I whisper a few things to Benson and Celestial real quick just about the book, just so I can one up him right here in front of his own face. And then move on to matters at hand.
I want to go around and start speaking in every tongue I can in the place. Just
Actually, Benson, so this is in Celestial, our new friend, colleague,
He
this
kind
man.
He kind of says, "The Hand of Mutus." Interesting. A title I'm not familiar with, but it sounds like you are of renown or repute.
oh, I get around. It's nothing big, but you are quite the
Everywhere we take
exotic
him.
friend.
He grins. So you would note that Benson's conversation, unfortunately, is it's determinable by all parties that are listening.
Is he not speaking in Celestial?
He is not. He's speaking in common, but everyone can understand him because of how tongues work.
Oh. Then,
Okay.
as soon as I
That's
notice it out
sad.
loud, I'll tell him try to speak less and listen more.
You see the barkeep kind of look up as the conversation is being had, and he's even more confused now than when it was just Celestial being talked. He goes back to his book though, and the Celestial looks to you and says, "Oh, I understand you can see into my properties and nature with the spectacles of Lamac. An interesting find there."
Yes, it's a new little trinket that we found. They're very handy. I'm still getting used to them, but they're very, very handy.
Not many are familiar with the name of Lamac, a goddess long forgotten. Very interesting. Turns back to Mishrael and says, "So then, if you are willing to assist me in finding this star stuff."
You believe it's in the building?
I don't believe, I know that it is here. He looks to the Hand of Mutus and says, "Mesium, a material you might be familiar with. Are you?" And again, this is the part where you can be if you want to, or not if you don't.
I've heard of it. I've never messed with it. I've never worked with it, but I've heard of it.
Very good. It is a very rare material that comes from outside of the spiral. It has pierced the veil near here, and I believe someone in this place has it. I need it, all of it.
For what reason? Why do you need to acquire it so badly?
It shouldn't be here.
Okay. Is there something that you need help with it, or
In Celestial to Chody, or to Benson rather, we've dealt with these guys before, and we really don't need this here in this bar. Let's just look for it.
He looks. The Celestial kind of looks at you and says, "I'm sorry, what?"
We had a run-in with some other of your type. They seemed overwhelmingly powerful, and I don't want to see any innocents injured in here. We wouldn't want to cross you.
Oh, I wouldn't engage you at all. You're. He kind of shakes his head. Like me? What do you mean? Who?
The word that's been used to describe you, we've met two others in our travels. They were sent on a mission by, I believe, their god to protect an individual.
I was sent here by the Savarius Academy. I was summoned specifically for this effort to recover the star stone or star metal and return it.
It would
to
seem
the-
each of you on this plane is given a specific mission.
Very good. You mean just Celestials in general?
As far as I can tell, yes.
Okay. I will probably ask again about the ones you've already encountered, but I will skip that matter of inquiry and move on to the matter at hand. Somewhere in this establishment, is a quantity unknown of misium. I require it. I would prefer it to be recovered without incident. Again, looking to Riot, without harm to anyone within.
Agreed.
And if it were then gifted to me, I would lead this place. If someone who has it is not keen on relinquishing it, I do have some matters for trade and coin. I do also have a fine steed that I would be willing to part with, which was a gift to me from the Samurais Academy. That said, looking to the Hand of Buddhas, will you help me?
Yes, we'd be happy to get rid of this as soon as possible, it seems, as I'm looking at Riot, because the whole not innocence thing was kind of, but yeah, we would help.
Very good. Well, then, I will remain here for as long as I am allowed to. I am certain that the barkeep will in time need the place cleared for non-patrons of the inn portion of the establishment.
Should it become an issue, there is an extra space in our room.
Oh, very good. Well, then I will remain here until we are called away to your rented room. I wish you good luck. Again, so far as to say, my detection methods have not been prudent. Perhaps your spectacles will be of aid?
Hopefully, we shall see.
Very good. He goes back to his wine. Meanwhile, Brooklyn and Shambles and Croc look like they're discussing pipeweed at the table.
The boy doesn't smoke.
The boy does not smoke.
A shame.
I'm mostly just keeping an eye on Benson,
Yeah, he seems fine.
especially after the tavern keeper's little outburst.
If Grok were
I
picking
got him.
the ones up here, is keeping an eye. Anything? Are they doing anything? Are they watching anything?
Who?
The ones with the cloak, the ones that Brooklyn bumped into.
Actually, probably about this time, they seem to finish their cups. They kind of, don't see Benson to give a nod to, so they kind of get up and head up towards the front door, and then take a sharp right down a small hallway you would have seen on the way in. You presume that leads to the exterior of the building.
Okay.
Assumption is they're going up to their rooms.
Got it. So while I was watching them, they weren't doing anything or watching anybody or
Chit chat amongst themselves, but it sounded like they were talking about travel more than anything else. Based on what you could overhear, make a perception check. 21.
21.
Yeah, so you pretty much heard the whole thing. It sounds like they are heading towards Bellum. They are making their way there from the Northron Plains, which are beyond the mountains and through the pass. It sounds like they are intent on making it to a place known as the Heart Grinder by the end of tomorrow, if their steeds are able to manage.
Never heard that term before.
The Heart Grinder. It sounds like a place. Do you mention to your compatriots?
Sure.
The name sounds familiar to Shambles, but he doesn't know why. And Rooklin's never been on this side of the Ice Things.
Sounds like a place to me.
Yeah. I just don't know what it's about.
Ominous.
We
Alright.
good.
So back to the matter of the undead in the stable. Kind of skipped over that.
I could absolutely see them through the window.
Yeah, he's just hanging out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to ignore him because I got Benson vision, but that's very distracting.
Yeah, it seems like that one that you're currently looking at and a couple others are kind of just walking around in the courtyard. You would have probably seen when the cloaked figure and the hooded monk went up that way. They kind of did one of those ginger kind of like, walk around the individual to get to the stairs.
Does
Those
the
are the
table look
stairs
like it's-
leading up. Sorry, go ahead.
Do the people at the table look like they're getting antsy? My friends.
I mean, they look like they're just hanging out. They've got food and shit, so.
Okay.
In fact, Benson, you left your food back at the table.
I would definitely go get my food.
Come back to the bar, or leave them entirely. But yeah, it seems like the elf has made known his desire for you. So yeah, your engagement beyond that is up to you. The barkeep continues reading his blacksmithing book. The lizard folk are still kind of interested in Gronk, but less so now that they are kind of coming to the dregs of their strange-looking kind of stew, which is mostly root vegetables, carrots, potatoes. Looks like a couple of mushrooms are in there as well. But it doesn't look like any meat was in that food that they're eating. The farmers to the north of you are, looks like they're playing some sort of dice game. And the bard has basically kind of stopped and is taking a break at this point. The two farmers to the right of you all, they are apparently going for gusto in an attempt to drink or outdrink, rather, the other person. Every so often, the bar keeps companion, the hostess, comes out and will lay out bread in front of them, and then they'll ask her to bring more drinks. She kind of looks over to the barkeep, who kind of goes, eh, and then she comes back out with mugs for them.
Do the barkeep, what hour would he typically shut down for the night?
Do you ask him?
Yes.
Well, we typically try and close it up right around midnight.
I see.
She's got a couple hours.
I have friends here that could help with your undead issue, but the one we saw on the way in is upsetting to me in a way.
Oh?
It could be dangerous if we confront it and it were to realize what it is.
Sure. Yeah, I would just say if you're going to do anything with them, be sure about it before you start making choices, because
Oh, we would, and
Yeah.
you'd be notified, but your patrons would definitely be confined to quarters while we try to handle that situation.
well, do you want to do it after midnight, or do you want me to close up now? He says as he closes his book.
Let me talk to my friends and see how they're feeling about it.
Okay, well, you just let me know.
Sure thing. And
He
I'll
opens-
leave the bar.
He opens his book back up. All right. Benson, did you head back to your table to eat your food?
Yes.
Okay.
I bring
I
my
would be-
bottle with me and pass it out because I'm not drinking this.
I would be keeping an eye out for anything that looks glowy or out of place or anything.
Sure. Yeah, you can definitely see the ghosts.
Oh, what was that about?
Someone needs our help to
Needs our help.
The minimum details are the man being is celestial, and we've not had good relations with those in the past. He's looking for a piece of metal. We're hoping to find it, get it to him, and get him off of this plane.
It's
In short,
definitely
that-
here in this tavern.
He is quite certain it is at this location. Beyond that, the barkeep would like all the undead cleared out. He doesn't know where they came from. The Celestials,
None of them in the
the, the Celestial said it was our fault, so I don't think he knows
I
it's
mean-
our fault, but...
We did kind of undo a tether for all undead.
Yeah, so we should probably fix that.
That probably happened approximately X amount of time ago. When we
Roughly
finished
2
that
weeks.
up.
2.5 weeks.
I don't know how long it's been.
Plenty of time for them to walk it over.
But yeah, we should probably deal with that. But should the wraiths realize they are wraiths, we're gonna have a problem. So I told them we'd confine patrons to quarters before.
Any chance?
Yeah.
Do we know how much of this metal there is? How big it is?
Unknown amount, but it sounds like it's a singular piece. Benson is taking care of that. He should be able to find it. After that, we'll have to
Should we be talking to some of these other
acquire
folks?
it. No, I think Benson should look for it first. Let's find the source, and
Benson, make an Arcana check.
Brooklyn can go ahead and start planning the purge.
extermination. It's a
16.
pest.
You're pretty sure that what you know of Mizium is that it is a magical containing metal. It's really good at holding a magical charge. There's not a lot of it. It does come from the stars, as has been cited. But if it isn't currently charged, there's nothing that will discern it or make it different than just a regular old block o metal.
So it's going to be harder to find.
If it's not charged, correct.
But
Right.
he said its physical appearance is different from normal metals. But as
Yeah.
far as Benson seeking it out magically,
With
if
Benson,
it's not charged, it's the same as a chunk
with
of
Benson's
steel.
Arcana check, he couldn't tell you what it looked like different. What's different about it compared to normal metal?
Is there a way to charge it from a distance?
But if we come across a piece of metal and we cannot identify it, it's more than likely it,
Probably, yeah.
because it will not look like a piece of metal.
And again, with that Arcana check, I can't answer your question, Andy. so-
Everybody has inspiration, right?
If you want,
Jody might not have.
I used it last week.
I gained a couple today.
I haven't
It's more
said
fun
anything
this
funny
way.
yet.
All right.
All I had
Well-
to do was kill myself.
Can we? Can we rule out?
I'll
that,
give him mine. I'll give him mine.
do you want to give him that?
Yeah, Jeremy just gave it to me, so,
So-
for sure.
Mizium has a naturally pattern welded look to it, but it is not pattern welded. Basically, how the metal works is, from what your understanding is, Mizium is kind of an amalgam of a lot of things, metal only being one part of it. There's something beyond it that's outside of this kind of world that would make it kind of look like it's flowy and have like a waviness to it. It's surfacing.
Looks like
Okay, and-
a type of Damascus then.
Yeah. And with that 26, you would also know that, answering Grok's question, yes, you could charge it. Spells that you could utilize to charge it would be cantrips that do damage of a magical nature, or cantrips that would do a change or alteration to the article in question, such as prestidigitation, changing the temperature, and whatnot. This would create a charge in the metal.
But we would have to find it first. We
If
can't
you-
do like an AoE and be like, okay, it's over there.
Well, I mean, if you cast a spell that is AoE that has magical damage, such as Fireball,
Right? I'm just
You-
saying.
you would find out if Mizium's present versus the entirety of the rest of the building being a light.
Well,
The hay,
Somebody's got to
the,
give and take.
the hay
we
on the
can
ground.
assume it could be on someone's person. We're going to guess it wasn't on that rogue type, since he left before the guy said it was definitely here.
What kind of light source is in the tavern?
Sure. It is the ceiling above you is about 12 feet high, about 10 or about 2 feet down from the ceiling are a series of rafters, and hanging down from the rafters another 2 feet, so about 8 feet off the ground. There are small lanterns that have been hung up by faceted metal hooks. None of the metal there appears to be Mizium.
I'm gonna whisper to Benson in Celestial. Do you think thaumaturgy, changing the lights, would light up the museum?
It seems that it would. It would be casting light on it, which is a cantrip that would have a magical effect on it, so it would.
I'm gonna quietly use thaumaturgy and make all the lights in the building flicker a little bit.
So yeah, the lights glow, but nothing changes. So yeah, the source itself is has to be directly affected by the magic. So no, the light changing and being cast on everything does not cause the glow.
Okay, so it won't just absorb magic in the area.
Magic-
You have to target it.
Cast magic
But
into
yeah,
it.
it's
Yeah.
got to
Got it.
touch it.
Okay. And if the bartender has questions, I'll blame the ghosts.
He doesn't seem to notice. He's very invested in his book.
So maybe we should make like the bartender wanted, confine people to their rooms, deal with the ghosts, search the area while it's clear of civilians, and
don't
or
we-
others.
What time is it now, roughly?
I'd say 10ish.
Why don't we ask the bartender, since he seems to be interested in blacksmithing, which is the working of metals? Maybe he's seen such a different metal around.
Not a bad idea. I would also say check the bard, because you know he's eyeballing every pocket in the building.
Why?
Because he wants paid.
Yeah, it's Bard.
You're taking that from a rogue?
Yeah, it takes one to know one, Zach.
I'm just saying, you've been crying stereotype all this time. And the
not saying you're
second
wrong.
that somebody else fits your stereotype, you're all in against it.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Fine. I'll go pull up a chair and listen carefully for the next round of the bard's music.
Yeah, he looks over to you and he says, "Hey,
Hey.
so you come from Bon Rock?"
Been there. I myself
The body did.
am from back west a ways.
I'll be
It's
honest.
been a while.
I'll be honest. I never had a conversation with one of the Guardians. Very interesting to see one walking around.
Yeah. We're rare. I'll give you that.
Sure.
So, what's the gig? How long are you in the tavern for?
I think I have to play a couple more songs. And yeah, whoever tips. He gestures to the bowl at his feet, and I get 10 gold in my room for the night. Not bad.
I'll flip him a gold coin.
Yeah.
Tailing into the bowl.
Edgar's establishment isn't a bad place. Not too sure about these ghost people keep talking about, but other than that, seems good.
What's that about? A lot
Yeah.
of people don't seem to notice them, so you see them.
Well, yeah. I actually walked along with a couple of them when they were heading out this way.
Don't seem violent.
Yeah, I made my way.
Interesting.
He kind of does one of these, like, I made my way from Purple Light down to Banser to Bellum, and then I followed the Iron Road for a bit, but it was mostly boring. Then I started seeing shadows walking near the Sharps, and well, they came here, and I've been here a couple of times, and Edgar's usually pretty good to me.
Edgar is the bartender.
Yeah,
I
it's
take it?
Edgar.
I haven't had a chance to exchange pleasantries. Say, you've been through Banter and Bellum. Any news from the area? I know some interested folks.
Yeah, Banser's Banser. Pretty boring place.
Sure.
Not a lot of fun. Most of the stories are about some half-orc paladin who isn't even around.
Well, no news is good news.
He kind of stops and he kind of looks past you and he says, "Is that why you're asking?" He gestures towards Brooklyn with like a finger.
Bad at lying, sir. So yes, that is precisely correct.
Interesting. The Night Brooklyn. Very, very, very cool.
Would you like to meet him?
No, not really.
Oh, he is cool.
I'll be honest. Even though I
Cool
usually
from a distance.
even though I usually take the center stage, I'm more of a wallflower when it comes to talking to folks.
I get you. I didn't mean to bring you out of your shell.
Oh.
I just
No, that's all right. I mean,
a good rest and some fine music is a rare treat.
he gestures to the bowl. It was worth talking to you. He says,
Happily, my friend.
kind of grinning.
Ugh.
You see him kind of.
Anything else out of the ordinary?
No, not really.
We're adventuring types. We try to keep our ear to the ground for any kind of information,
It was really
big or small.
It was really interesting to see that the thrones are traveling along with the Iron Road, but not too often you see them moving around in military deployment like that.
Wait,
They're guarding the railroad construction, and they usually don't leave the capital.
Just a heads up, the internet people are working on the pole behind my house, so if I cut out, that's why.
Okay, got it.
well, nothing too out of the ordinary about this place. Seems we can't swing a dead cat without finding some problem.
Ghosts, that's it. I mean, and again, I wouldn't be too worried about them, but figuring Edgar for being a tried and true
One of those.
Osirian. He's probably not too big a fan of spirits of the shadow being on his doorstep. Literally.
I have a bad feeling we're going to be tasked with taking care of that issue, so I get you.
Well, good luck on that.
Thanks,
Um,
man.
I highly suggest salt. Lots of salt. Yeah, I heard a
See what I
story
can do.
about salt rings being used to kind of ward off creatures from specific locations. Creatures of the shadow, that is.
Huh. Well, I won't keep you. If you've got songs to play, by all means, play them.
I'll get to it.
I'll sit here and listen.
Sounds good. Gets to it. You can see the dice game's kind of devolved into a point because you're sitting right near it. The guy who actually has a token that isn't the generic farmer man, he kind of wins all the games, and they seem to be kind of calling him out and kind of trying to say that he's a cheater. And they're like saying, "Well, they're your dice. They could be weighted or whatever. They could be magic dice. Probably got them from that half elf over there." And he says, "No, it's not that. No, it's fair. Fair news. Here, you can have them." And they seem to just be having a bit of a spat there. The lizard folk are tired and start to kind of get up and head away from their table. As they're kind of walking past Grok, they are giving him kind of the full stare at that point.
Rock would nod at them.
When one of them sees you do that, kind of goes,
You are the sentinel of the serpent, yes?
That's right.
When we have,
The other one says,
we have gifts.
and reaches into the bag, pulls out a parcel and sets it out on the table.
Please make sure this is placed into the well.
Into the what? The well?
Yes.
Okay.
Which you would know is the hole that the serpent sleeps in.
Thank you for your offering. Or would be pleased.
Thank you.
And they just cheese in as they walk out. They actually don't go the same way as the others went. They seem to be going towards the stairwell that is still inside. Like they got a better room than the other ones did.
Nice.
Is there anything on those two of note?
They have travel bags. They don't appear to have much in the way of metal. And you would know, Grok, that
That's what I assumed.
most folk who follow the serpent don't typically wield metal articles.
And I'm not going to rummage through the offerings, but just looking at them, what is it? Is it a package?
It does appear to be kind of like if you've seen parcels like this before deposited into the well, it's probably raw gold ore surrounded by fine smelling things.
Okay. I would put that in my pack. And if nobody's going to talk to the barkeep, I think I think somebody's already talked, who's already spoken with them should do that, like Benson or Raya.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't want to interrupt anybody else. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll head back over there.
Okay. Looks up to
You
you.
should get in on that gambling.
So, wanting to shut it down, or
Oh, no, not quite yet. I think we're okay for now. I actually had a question.
yeah,
Your book here, you're a metallurgist?
yeah. I got a smith right out back, just outside the stable. Mostly do shoeing and stuff, but I've been practicing some other things since most of the good stable work goes to the folks just south of here.
That makes sense. Good to have a trade to fall back on.
Yeah.
With your eye and your knowledge of the trade, have you seen any odd metals come in?
Well, I buy a lot of odd metals. Most of the folks who travel through here, sell me what they got, and that's how I do most of my work. Sometimes I buy some old weaponry and smash it to bits, make what I need from it. Shields are great for that. But sometimes I buy some random materials. Lizard folk tribe near here typically don't like keeping a hold of metals that they find, and they know that I'm looking for it, and I'm willing to trade them what I can get for what they got. They don't have too much in the way of mushrooms coming in their region, and I got a pretty good contact up in Moodus. Jimmy the clerk, a fellow up there, who
Good friend of mine.
is he sends me
Yes.
sends me mushrooms and other materials up from there. So pretty good trade deal I got going. But yeah, I typically buy whatever I can get a hold of.
But you only get the more common metals down here, right? Irons, maybe even some steel. You got anything? You haven't seen anything
I got
out of the ordinary, right?
got a block of some weird looking metal in my smithy. You can immediately see the celestial kind of invested, like paying attention.
What do you mean weird? What's it look like?
It's got like wavy patterns to it, and it's just kind of like a weird kind of metal color. It's like shiny even though it ain't been polished.
Huh. Could I get a look at that?
Well, I'm kind of busy running the bar here. Can't really make it out to my spot.
I understand. It's just I'm actually a servant of Lamac at this point. It's been a pretty great honor, and
I don't know who that is.
oh, you don't know Lamac? And I go into it. She's the goddess of knowledge. She wrote the book.
Make a persuasion check. You are now proselytizing.
That's a weird word.
12.
Mostly just confused looks throughout and like a disinterest.
I get it. She's not for everyone. But
Yeah, no, Atavius is typically who we worship around here, but you elves have
You're wrong. Not Octavius. He's pretty great.
you elves have your weird gods. You know, keep to them.
You're not wrong. But yeah, if we get the chance, I mean, I'd love to see that.
I'm a bit busy. If you handle those wraiths, I mean, you know,
Oh yeah, we'll take care of that. No worries.
I'll go ahead and let you have a look at it. Can't really say how much I'm willing to pay you for that task. Not really too high up on the coin. I mean, I guess I can't do anything with it. If you want the weird metal, you deal with the wraiths
We'll work something out for that.
or ghosts. He says.
Yeah, we definitely want to take care of that problem for you, no matter what.
Very good. Yeah. Looks back to his book.
Seems like some of these guys are getting a little rowdy. It might be pretty close to time
Yeah.
to turn them in.
All right. Well, he. Do you want to do what you're planning on doing now?
Yeah, I think the paladin's ready.
The elf at the bar looks over to you and says, "I am with them. Do you mind if I remain seated here?" The barkeep says, "He with you?"
Oh yeah, he's going to be joining us in our room. We'll keep an eye on him.
Walks over to the two mostly drunk individuals and says, "Come on, head on over back home. Get on out of here." Walks back up to the these group, and he says, "All right, Pedreg, you done running these fools through the gamut? Go ahead and head up to your room. I'm closing early." And Pedreg's like, "Come on, I could probably get." And then he kind of stops. The two farmers kind of look at him like angrily. All right. I'll head up to my room. All the farmers leave out the front door.
Benson, tip the bard.
And
I would tip the bar.
Edgar walks over to the bard, says, "Lelivos, good set, as always." Hands him a purse of coin. The
Nice.
half-elf says, "Closing off early. It's going to lose me a lot of coin. I could have probably gotten something out of Pedrag at least. I mean, you know when he gets into his cups, he's a bit more generous than usual." And
That's when Benson walks over and tips him.
and he goes, "Yeah, see? I could have probably suckered everybody that was with the Hand of Mudas here for at least this, if not more. I already
You're
got
wrong.
Edgar kind of looks at him and says, okay. How about this? Tomorrow morning, fresh bacon." Lolobos grins. Deal. Picks up his instruments and heads off to where he seems to be staying. Edgar looks over to you. I'll be out in my smithy. That's where I typically will go when I've got downtime. Let me just go tell.
Have you spotted any of the creatures out there?
Mostly in the smithy, no. It's mostly in the courtyard out in front of the stables and in that front room. That's it.
Well, if you're gonna go off on, I wouldn't be by yourself and be on guard in case one of these things goes rogue.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Me and Beatrice, we'll go hang out with her. And so he goes out through the kitchen and seems to exit out the building that way, leaving you to it.
To the Celestial and Celestial, it sounds like he may have it. If you'd like to assist us in getting rid of these, it may expedite the process of you acquiring what you need.
Now that he's no longer in the building, I could just take it if I wish, but you are right. A deal's a deal. You've made it, you've struck it. Engage in your process. I don't think I'll be much of a help in assisting in the matter of dealing with your problem.
You deal in radiance, do you not?
I deal in shadow.
I see. That may not help us as much as I had hoped.
Not all celestials are angelic beings.
I understand. Then I guess we will move on with that and meet you back here as soon as we're done.
That's where I'll be staying. He says as he pours another glass. Alright.
I'll rally the troops and we'll go outside and I'll immediately be like, Benson, don't those things all use radiance?
The answer would be no. The answer would be
Oh, cool.
yeah, if you make
Really
her.
use Brooklyn right now.
Yeah.
There for a
I
minute, I,
think he's
thought we
here.
were getting tricked.
I think he's on his phone or something.
Oh, I'm kind of like it's cutting in and out. They're still messing with the wires.
I hear it done.
Don't keep popping into
Yeah.
the video.
Turn your zoom
Okay.
off.
Okay.
Save your bandwidth.
Yeah, that's easier.
Yeah, because I have to keep fixing it every time you do it.
Miss
Yeah.
you, Brett.
All right, let's head to the front door and deal with
So-
number one.
Violets?
Violet? What?
I'd say let's talk to him first, see if we can just
Yeah.
move on.
Okay. I that's why I asked.
But if we have to, yeah, we'll just eliminate it.
That can be our last resort.
Brett, right?
Go ahead,
You're
Brett.
the
Yeah.
two most likely to talk to ghosts, so I'll stand by.
Okay.
Okay. If you go out to the coat room one, he's still just standing next to the coat rack, which seems to have been relieved of a number of the coats that were present on it. He looks to you and kind of gives you a nod like he's expecting you to leave, like he's being very cordial, and you can kind of see his face kind of moving, almost as if he's mouthing something, but no words are uttered. Just kind of a sound kind of emanates from him.
I'll try to address him, see if it understands.
It seems to note you, kind of looking in your direction with two hollow, bright yellow eyes. Music's perfect for this, by the way.
Speak to it. And why are you here?
Doesn't seem to answer.
Would you be willing to leave this place?
Doesn't seem to answer.
I don't think my sword can't. Like, it speaks to me. It can't understand what he's saying, can it?
I mean, if you speak to your sword, the sword will say that I don't speak no spoken words. That's the language I'm not familiar with. But it's probably not as much as an asshole as
thought
I
he
was just
like,
then.
saying something, like, he was saying something, it was just something we couldn't pick up.
No, it's not speaking a language.
Okay, gotcha.
There's no way for me to like go half into a trance to talk to this specific ghost, right?
No, you'd have to spend the time, the work, and the effort.
Dispel that sucker.
I'm gonna get my coat.
Okay.
And I'll hand Benson his.
I'm gonna
Thank you.
motion for the ghost to go outside.
Doesn't do it.
See if
I'll-
I can find
I'll-
some salt. A guy told me about this. I'm gonna go
I'm-
see if I can't find some salt behind the bar.
I'm gonna inform him that the owners of the establishment are off put by its presence and they would like for it to leave.
Doesn't seem to understand.
Anybody else here know how to talk to dead things?
We recommended
not.
salt.
So
My
yeah,
previous encounters were just punching them, but I'd be willing to give the salt thing a try.
he
Pure
reckon-
salt, pure iron are things that you should be able to block them with and kind of lock them into place, but it's not going to make it leave.
Right.
Is there anything that Rooklyn can do? I don't know if he can hear us or not.
You have turn undead?
You know who does have turn undead?
Right?
Who?
The saint.
Oh, you're now a cleric. Is that right?
It's not currently in my list. But
Yeah, it is. It should be in your character sheet, bottom right corner. Channel Divinity, and then there should be two options underneath it, which is Turn Undead and
Oh, I didn't know I could.
Do
Hold
that.
knowledge of the ages. I don't think I filled them in though.
You did not.
Yeah, turning
Well, knowledge of the ages is.
Okay, a turn undead is simple though. It's your spell DC, and if they fail it, then they run from you.
Yeah, try that.
Okay.
I believe spell DC is 14.
So it would be 4 plus 2 plus 8. So 8, 14.
Yeah, 14.
Okay. You kind of position yourself so that it's not going to be pushed into a corner, opening the doors behind it into the night air, kind of setting it up. You raise up the broken shard, and basically, in the name of Lamac, flee this place. You watch as it turns and kind of looks at it like lazily, kind of looks at it for a second, not really understanding the nature of it, and then flees, rushes out into the night. Its mouth kind of distends down and kind of like in fear, it seems to leave its jaw behind like a wisp of shadow stuff and flies out.
There you go. Mission accomplished.
We got to deal with the stables too.
Yeah, there's another one.
Just checking. Should we salt the area?
Leaving pure salt at the door would prevent
Yes,
others from
salt the
entering.
front
Yeah,
door.
Do that.
I feel like the salt thing should happen.
Doors and windows.
Yep, I like it because you were
I'm
able to
gonna
get
go
in a
dig through the
window.
larder.
Like
How
salt
about
has-
salt duty?
It's got to be like kosher salt, like the good stuff.
I'll get some good salt.
And can we go outside? I feel like I'm stuck in here.
So
The
you're,
windows are great.
you're going the wrong direction. If you're heading south, you want to go up to the top of the first room, and you'll see that there's a small little hallway on the north side wall, and that leads to a door that exits out.
Hey, Rafe. Can I ask him politely to leave?
You see him kind of wandering around, and then you see kind of come out of the stables. These aren't present, but you see smaller shades kind of move towards him and kind of run around him like children speaking to an elder. And you see him kind of like he's talking to them, but nothing's said other than like they're going through some sort of motion. But yeah.
Sir, I need you to leave this place.
You see him kind of turn his attention towards you when you say that. Make an insight check.
16.
Sir seems to be what did it.
So he can only get certain word.
No, it seems like that's registering with him for whatever reason.
Maybe he was noble born or something.
Sir, are you stuck here?
And you kind of see like this strange look of like forlorn in the eyes, but there's no reply, no gestures or anything.
Sir, do you wish to pass from this plane?
You see it kind of drop and become like half its stature. When the wispiness of the wraith kind of dismisses out of it, you notice that it's now kneeling and lowering his head.
Ooh, that's good.
The small child wraiths or ghosts, when they see this, all kind of just flee outwards.
I hope you pass to a better place, and I'll put my dagger across him and attempt to end it.
Okay. Presume with your sneak attack and its current state of hit points, it'll be enough. Even though, yeah, I mean, magical works fine. Actually, not against. Yeah, no, this one isn't a wraith. It's just a normal. Okay. So yeah, and it kind of just becomes kind of ectoplasm laid out on the ground.
Give a quick little prayer over it. I hope he passes on to somewhere better.
The way that the children went, it looks like they ran out of the walls. So like they went outside of the courtyard.
Do we feel like we should go after them, or does it seem like they were tied to this one?
It doesn't look like they were tied to him. They kind of came to him. You don't know for sure what that meant.
Did it feel like a familial bond between them?
No.
Okay.
And who knows how many are in the area now that we uncorked that place, right?
Oh yeah. So many.
So I mean, like, how we could do this all night long.
Yeah.
So I mean, how much is enough?
But the common sense idea should be at this point, now that there are currently none visible.
Front door and stables. That was what he has to have cleared. They are
Yeah.
cleared.
Job done.
Now what do you do?
Go to the stables and find him.
Go to the smithy and find him.
Smithy.
Right.
Right.
Well, he said he was going because you told him to stay with somebody else. He went with Beatrice outside to their.
Oh, I
little-
thought he was taking her with him to the smithy.
No, to the house. They went to their house.
Okay. Then yeah, we'll go seek them out,
Okay.
and I'll look for any others along the way.
Does anybody want to do anything to the establishment after that matter?
I think the salt idea is good.
Okay.
Covering the openings with salt.
So windows, everything kind of lined with salt. Got it.
Can Brooklyn bless the place?
Yeah, Brooklyn can perform a ceremony. I think. I don't know if he has the spell or not, but there's definitely with the salt, you should be good. You go and you knock on the door. Edgar and Beatrice come out. All sorted.
It's clear for now. They're salting your doors and windows. Pure salt, pure iron are things you're going to be keeping your eyes out for. I can't say it's going to last forever, but things of a pure nature should keep them from crossing your thresholds.
Oh, so just like put it on the door or something?
Salt lines along the floor, at the base of, across the windowsills, across the base of the doors, but with the amount of patrons you're going to have, that's not going to last long. Perhaps a pure iron bar might dispel them, keep them from entering.
Well, we get a bit of salt, quite a bit of salt. Yeah, that's not. We
Nothing,
can't.
man. Just nothing.
That is a good,
All right, buddy.
good effort, but you sound like a robot.
Oh, that was better.
We got
right
the,
at the end. That
we
was
got
better.
we got the dang it
Could
crystal.
you come up with enough material, perhaps a solid pure iron threshold and windowsills?
Oh, I could probably bang that out in a couple of days. Salt.
That should prevent them from entering the property. It's not going to get them away from the edges. And
Sure. Okay, I get
Otherwise,
you.
I'd say salty area. You seem to be pretty flush with that.
Yeah, not too
do I
bad.
owe you anything for the salt I've used? I
No.
filled up, like a bag.
No. Yeah. If,
way more than a
I,
bag, dude.
I might have been a little
if you're pouring it around my.
gung ho about the salt.
If it's staying on.
Handed.
If it's staying on the property, I'm not gonna make you pay for it. He shrugs. So, I guess you want to see that medal now, huh?
That would be great. I am very interested in it.
All right. He leads you back in, through the kitchen and up and around to the smithy. You would see that the celestial has not moved from that seat. He walks into the stables, leads you to the smithy. Entering in, you can see that it's a pretty simple forge. Anvil, lots of just piles of metal kind of in one corner. Looks like a stockpile that he's thrown together. And he kind of rifles through it for a second and pulls out, chunk, probably about the size of a switch squared, like, pretty decent sized block o metal, kind of hefts it up and like hands it over to you.
If I may, I'm going to cast something upon it.
Okay. Yeah, Emmy says you can do whatever you want.
Sure,
Are you okay? And Benson, if you're here, you can just use the goggles to watch. I'm just going to use thaumaturgy to make a
Yeah.
sound come out of it or whatever.
Yeah, it glows. You kind of see
Looks
a,
like we got it.
a charge to it.
This is something we're actually looking for. Would you take it as trade for the service rendered and the knowledge you've gained?
I mean, I can't work it. You can see that it's not square. It's like it's a mangled block of metal.
It
And-
is a very odd material for sure.
And it looks like there have been efforts, but it's done nothing more than kind of create hammer-shaped scratch circles, like where he's battered at it. I don't know what heat it's supposed to get to, and no idea how it's supposed to be manipulated. But yeah,
I don't think it's forged by heat. It's something else.
well, it's all yours for doing the trick there. No problem.
Thank you. We'll be retiring to our room.
Sure,
We'll be sure to give you our goodbyes in the morning after breakfast.
absolutely. Well,
Edgar, right?
Edgar, yeah.
Thanks, Edgar.
Mm-hmm. Edgar Way, and he heads off.
And we'll go inside, collect our celestial.
He sees you approaching the museum. Did you find it?
I believe so. I'll show it to him.
He says, perfect. Very good. He reaches out to accept it.
Kind of reach forward. You'd mentioned you'd be willing to trade. Is there anything off the top of your head you think would be beneficial to our group that we could take forward?
The only thing I have physically at current is the horse I rode in on.
Let's see. Don't think a horse does us much good. But
It is one of the grand steeds of the summer elves, Renan.
Am I around there?
Yeah.
yeah, we're all here.
I would be okay with a horse to make the travel a little easier.
I will, of course, allow you the horse, and whoever you decide would be the rider to it, make sure that they are marked properly, so that somewhere else who see you upon it will not think you untoward or a thief.
Would a horse ever have more than one rider?
No.
Okay. Who's going to carry the mark?
I would guess Benson.
He is the smallest. And
I
Fine
yeah, I
with me.
said
He's the
I
most
was
unwilling to
yeah.
ride,
I would
to
be.
walk.
That's more of an in character thing. Just
He can
let
also
you guys
at
know.
any time be a passenger. So if we have
Right.
He takes the block of metal, and you see it just kind of vanish into him, like it just kind of like a weird no clipping kind of deal.
we'll settle the who the mark's on later. But anyway,
He
that's-
leads you to the horse, which is out in the stables. It seems to be in the largest of them, and when the horse is revealed to you, you will note that it does appear to be very much like Bellerin's horse, Renan.
which is the reason I didn't really want to take a horse and trade, because that one ran off on us.
That one wasn't marked by you, or marked to be ridden by you.
Yeah, but everything we take with us gets lost, stolen, or dead.
Dude, this could be Stampy too.
It sounds pretty awesome.
I'm just saying.
This is like Shadowfax we have now.
Upon the metal disappearing, is that the end of your mission in this plane?
Yes, I will be returning back to the academy. Because I did not know where I was going and couldn't arrive there immediately, because I'm returning back, I can do so without issue.
I see. Is there any other knowledge you could bestow upon us about anything you've learned in your travels?
I was reluctant to speak to you in the first place, Misrael. No, not particularly.
Very
What
well.
about knowledge for knowledge? Out of character. Did we tell him anything about the Celestials that we knew yet, or no?
Vaguely, but no details.
Okay.
He,
Well,
you see, you see,
He's
his,
not gaining those details.
you see his interest is piqued by that statement by Brooklyn.
what if we tell you everything we know?
No.
about that?
Yeah, I silence him immediately. No. Every Celestial is sitting here with a mission and a purpose. His is fulfilled. Theirs may not be. If he doesn't know about them, he's not supposed to.
He looks to
Don't get in the way of them.
He looks to Misrael with a smile. Very good. If there's nothing else, then I will be
We
on
wish
my...
you well travels.
Perfect. Who shall I mark? Before he leaves, he's going to have to mark one of you.
Say
I'm gonna
Benson.
point at Benson.
Fine, Benson.
Alright.
I got a horse.
He walks over
You
to
got a
you.
cool looking horse.
He walks
A
over.
rad horse.
He walks over to you, and he says, "Your hand, please."
I give him my hand.
He takes it, palm down, and on the back of your hand, he places his finger. It doesn't feel like anything other than a person kind of poking you. And then after a fashion, you feel a sincerely hot, burning feeling on the top of your hand. You then see a strange mark emblazoned on the back of your hand, which you would recognize being a pretty astute follower of lore, that it is the mark of Corchet, the archfey of steeds and horses, and the primary summer elf month. But yeah, you are marked to ride him. And he says to you, the horse answers to the name Zweigoren.
We're gonna mess that up so many
Yeah, that's
a
not
bad-
gonna do well,
That's a bad name. You should call it Stampy too.
right?
You know, that damn freaking Stampy never had a name.
I'm just Stampy too.
Which-
Gorin.
Zweigoren, which is a strange translation of Stampy
Two
2.
Gorin.
Zwei, to Gore and Stampy. Gore, it's not really
Alright, cool.
Stampy, but it is now.
I got it.
All right, and yeah, he disappears. Not too dissimilar from how Calorath disappears, by the way. It is a teleportation spell.
I pet the horse.
So the horse stands shoulder height, 5.5 feet.
For a normal person.
So for a normal person, they would need assistance or a really good vertical to get up on the horse. I'm telling you, the horse's shoulders are as tall as some of you.
I look at Shambles and I go, upsies.
I will happily provide updates.
All right, the horse is not.
I must insist you handle
you
this
a-
beast with care.
Are you a tinkerer,
I
Benson?
can't guarantee I can keep up with you.
The horse does not have a saddle, and as you would have noted from Bellerin, a saddle would not be necessary. The back of the creature is soft and perfect.
This
And
is fancy.
Your hands
Soft and perfect.
can enter into its hair for stabilization, but Bellerin didn't have a saddle on his.
I'm not
and-
gonna have that on mine.
I was thinking you could fashion a rope ladder so that Benson can climb up onto it.
I just cast fly every time I get on it.
I hope somebody has the ability to clip stuff and use it out of context for the soft and perfect. I really hope.
So cool about this horse.
Stable that horse. We gotta go to bed. It's late.
Horse does as ordered by Benson.
I give him a carrot.
He devours it
We stole that from the larder.
readily. You'll note that his eyes, his hair is bright red, and his eyes do glow kind of like an astral blue. He is
We
a
have lots of salt.
magnificent horse. Yeah, you put him to bed. You head up to your shared room. As you kind of get saddled for rest, you do have a window that kind of leads out to the front. And that boat that was there a while ago is no longer there. The individual who was in it must have continued downstream a bit. And you rest. Make sure you gain a long rest before it. And in the morning, when you awake, the common room has a couple of people in it. Specifically, the lizard folk duo and the monk and cloaked lady. No one else present. They look like they are starting up on breakfasts. Looks like the stew from last night, which was root vegetables and the like, is the consumptory option for the lizard folk. It looks like the other two are consuming bacon. What do you do when you arrive downstairs, if anything, in particular?
I'll just get a bowl of soup to try.
Okay. Yeah, he says, sure, yeah, I'm trying to get rid of it, Edgar says.
Sweet.
And for Grok?
Porridge or whatever he has, yeah.
I got the stew, and I've got some porridge. I've got porridge. Sure. It sounds like he was trying to push the stew, but he gets you your porridge.
All right.
And for anyone else, you are fed. But yeah,
Single slice of bacon.
the elf obviously not being there in the morning. But Lulabos will come downstairs, and he is served a plate that looks like it is a breakfast of champions. He's
Big
got
old rasher of bacon.
big old rasher of bacon. Looks like 3 cooked eggs. Looks like some beans. Yeah, looks like he got a full breakfast. And he looks quite happy with it. And he says to Edgar, "You always treat me good. I'll be back around sometime." And Edgar casually says, "Well, where are you heading?" And he says, "Heading up north. Town called Moodus. And then got to find a way through the mountains up and beyond. Might make my way as far as the capital this time. Or Munio, rather." They kind of nod to each other. And then you folk. gather your stuff. Any parting questions for anybody present or heading on your way?
As the half-elf leaves, I tell him to stick to the right path, not the mountain path, north of Mudus.
The right path? What do you mean?
The actual road. Don't let anybody fool you until you paddle through the mountains.
No, the path through the mountain's the only way. What are you talking about?
I don't know the names of them, John. But there's the two paths we took.
So, yeah. So there's the mountain pass, which is the common pass, and then there's the Serpent's Trench, which is only allowed to be passed through by sentinels or people who have the right to do so. The
So
only
he's making sure he takes it.
the only guide that you knew that had the right to pass the Serpent's Trench had a sick elk and is no longer a viable option.
Damn you one.
Was that the path we took to head off the assassin?
No, you took the mountain pass because the mountain pass was the one they were coming down.
That was Ein Goran.
Alright, then just delete the whole thing. Screw that guy. I hope he dies in the mountains.
Fair enough. I'm gonna go die in the mountains. Bye. But yeah, the rest of you lot heading out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so looking at it map-wise, we got ourselves positioned here at the wayside, and by nightfall, you'll be able to make it to the bronze shrine. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I'm going to need a total of 3 D20 rolls for random encounter purposes.
We'll do what? 13.
Okay.
2, 3.
6.
All right. So yeah, you make it there undaunted. But on the way there, probably sometime in the morning, you do see what appears to be a ruins of some sort of temple up on a hill. That would be right about here-ish. And I'll go ahead and put the marker down for it. It's just kind of low-lying and present. But doesn't appear to have anything other than it being kind of a strange.
Oh, okay.
A strange.
Sort of passed it by.
Yeah, you just kind of
distance.
you're kind of like I would say a
Like,
good
huh, look at that.
500 feet. You see a hill that's flat topped, and you can see the ruins kind of on it.
I'd rather divert and check it out in case it's something connected.
Okay.
Well, it's like that shrine to the north. We thought nothing of it because it was inhabited by giants. We get there and Calrath had control of the thing.
These are true statements.
Sure.
We might as well swing in, just check it on our way by, and then
Okay.
Risk something else happening.
All right. So you make your way up the hill. You can find that there are a series of paths that do wind up the hill. It looks like there's a prime path that seems to lead towards the front of the temple atop. You presume this is the actual original starting course path that people in time of its use would have used. You can also see that there appear to be markings, old Atavian markings, the language being Old Atavian, which is easily decipherable, not too terribly hard to decipher because it's the common tongue as you know it. And it does appear that this place goes by the name of Mundi, Mundi. You make your way to the front gates of the place, and it appears that it is shut. It does appear that the main core of the structure appears like it might very well still be a functioning structure. What's the laughing about?
how broken up is it?
I made a Monday
Jody
joke.
said he hates Mondays. that's,
Oh.
that's all that it was.
It was a great joke.
He was very proud of himself.
I was.
It was a very great joke.
It's a good
That's
joke.
why I was laughing.
You know what?
how just
I,
pleased when he wasn't there.
I won't let the fact that I didn't see it and didn't get the proper acknowledgement of the joke. I will allow for that to be a joke worthy of inspiration.
Yay!
Because you know when you get a joke and everyone's already had their fun with it and you're not really in on the fun, and then you're like, oh, I'm dumb because I didn't catch it the first time because I didn't see it posted. Yeah, that's... I'm not going to let that sour the joke. Anyway.
I liked it. It was funny.
The doors are shut. They appear to be made out of dark wood, and they appear to be reinforced with iron. It does look like there is a number of markings just outside of the door, which are kind of weathered, and it looks like it was kind of a mosaic kind of style on the tiling that has kind of been broken up and kind of weathered clean a bit. But based on what you can see, it looks like there are two figures, and one seems to be handing the other figure something.
Is it discernible what's in the hands?
It just appears to be two figures, and something that's kind of square shaped is being handed to the other. If you have religion trained, you can make a religion check.
Okay. 18.
Mundi, in the Atavian belief, is a word that means ley line or a crossover or a position where another plane exists in tandem with the material.
I'm gonna let everybody know that this might be something that has multiple planes attached.
Worth noting. Any idea how to open the door? Or we got a hand?
As you express interest for the doors being opened, the doors open. Inside, you can see there appears to be a temple. The temple seems to glow with light. It seems that a decent amount of daylight enters into the place. And it seems at the very far side of this temple chamber, this main chapel, is a throne. You can't really discern what's sitting upon the throne. Almost like something is wavy or kind of blocking it, censoring it, very strangely from your position outside. But you feel this very inviting kind of force kind of pull inwards towards the door as the door is opened. And based on the time, I think that's a pretty solid cliffhanging stopper point. Go ahead and call it a session. Thanks for watching. We'll pick up next session at the gates of Monday. Bye.